So, in 1986, life around Ukraine and neighboring countries turned for the worse. Does anybody know what I can possibly be talking about? Alright, that's good. Okay, so what I was talking about was the Chernobyl disaster. The Chernobyl disaster was a nuclear reactor that exploded due to human error. In Chernobyl, there were 4 nuclear reactors, and the 4th one was the one that exploded. This disaster resulted in people having to evacuate their homes with only 1 day notice, and most of them never coming back. The residents never knew why they had to leave, but there were only rumors going around about why they had to leave, and why they had to leave their beloved city. Before disaster struck, life in the city of Pripyat was seen as paradise. Pripyat was a city north of the power plant, and it was built in 1970. Pripyat's population in 1986 was around 45,000 people, and it seemed like it was going to grow year by year. Pripyat was built for the sole purpose to house the families of the power plant workers and the builders of the city. The residents loved the power plant because of how much money it was actually making for the city. The cost of living there was extremely low. Like, for example, the cost of a loaf of bread was only 12 cents. They would get free stuff all the time, like transportation to Moscow, because they were part of the Soviet Union. They would get free tickets to football or soccer matches around the area, and most importantly, they got free healthcare. Residents didn't know the danger of the power plant until they were evacuated from their homes due to the explosion. According to the World Nuclear Association, the Chernobyl accident of 1986 was the result of a flawed reactor design that was operated with inadequately trained personnel. Due to the inexperience of one of the workers, he turned off the automatic shutdown system preceding a test for the morning of. There was overpressure from the cold water interacting with the hot fuels, resulting in a steam explosion that blew off a 1,000-ton cover plate right into the air. As a result of the automatic shutdown system being turned off and the overpressure, the fuel channels were ruptured and the control rods got jammed. 7 seconds after the attempt to put the control rods back into the place, the explosion happened that caused the steam cloud to carry over 520 different types of radionuclides into the atmosphere. The radionuclides that were released into the atmosphere was all spread over Asia, most of Europe and Asia. To extinguish the fires from the explosion, they dropped sand, boron, clay, and lead out of a helicopter. Liquidators and biorobots are forgotten saviors of the world who did their best to try to contain the pollution from the explosion. The liquidators were volunteers that tried their best to clean up the radioactive rubble from the explosion. They didn't know how much danger they were in because they were never told, but they did it for the city. If there weren't any liquidators, radiation would be all over the globe. Between 1986 and 1990, there were roughly 600,000 liquidators all over the country, all over the continent of Europe that volunteered. According to the United Nations Scientific Committee, on average, the liquidators were exposed to 120 millisieverts of radiation, which is around 1,200 times more than just a simple X-ray. People on the first day got well over 1,000 millisieverts of radiation. Radiation like this resulted in many deaths or diseases, so it is safe to say life after the explosion was not the same. 1 day after the explosion, on the 27th of April, the whole city of 45,000 people had to evacuate, resulting in most of them never coming back. Of course, some people didn't care about the explosion and still lived there, but most people never came back. Life around the reactor won't be inhabitable for at least another 20,000 years because of all the radionuclides that are soaked into the ground. Some people believe that this event was the downfall of communism. By the end of July 1986, there were 28 deaths, but so many more people were affected by the radiation. The biggest long-term effect that wasn't death was thyroid cancer. The government or Soviet Union tried to deny these claims, but saying that the radiation had nothing to do with these people getting random diseases, but that's just not true. disaster was the worst recorded nuclear disaster in history. It sucks to think that all this could have been prevented if there weren't inexperienced workers working there that day. The heroes of this event were the liquidators and bio-robots who sacrificed their lives for the greater good of the world. Now, as I finish the speech, I hope that you continue to research this outside of class because this is very interesting. Thank you.